Hello, and thank you for watching today. I'm Madeline Bryant. I'm the Principal Librarian of Youth Services here at the Los Angeles Public Library, and I want to welcome you. The purpose of today's program is to inspire students to strive towards college as a realistic and achievable educational goal. Today's program, entitled Pathways to College, is one of the first steps on that journey. Today kicks off a series of programs that for the next 3 days will focus on the process of getting into college, both finding the right fit college and also paying for college, a very important part. We have programs that will address that in both English and in Spanish. I'd like to thank today's Get Ready for College Task Force, who's been hard at work putting this all together, including the series this week. And those people are Dora Ho, Kathy Chenoweth, Jessica Levy, Marcia Melkonian, Lynn Nguyen, and Tatiana Ortiz Cordenero. Now, I am pleased to introduce our city librarian, Mr. John Szabo, a big champion of student success and Get Ready for College.
Thank you so much, Madeline, and it's great to be here. I bring you all greetings from Central Library here in downtown Los Angeles. And we're so glad that you're able to participate in the Get Ready for College Motivational Seminar. My first and most important message for all of you today is that the Los Angeles Public Library is here for you. It does not belong to me. It does not belong to our mayor, the city government. It belongs to you. And we are interested in your success. We're always looking for ways to help people achieve their goals, particularly young people. And whether it's going to college, finding a job, learning new skills in our maker spaces, accessing health information, becoming a U.S. citizen, or even getting help with an immigration issue. We're here for you. And today's program is really another great example of that. Get Ready for College, which was originally known as Student Smart, is celebrating 15 years of free college preparatory programs, workshops, and practice tests that are held throughout the city in partnership with the Princeton Review. Since 2006, the library has hosted 705 workshops, practice tests, and college sessions with 44,000 plus students participating. Wow, that's incredible. That's a lot of lives touched, and I think a lot of lives changed, and we're really, really proud of this work. We also support students through free online homework help, virtual student zones where you can make an appointment with a trained local homework helper, and also our Student Success Library Cards, which puts a library card and access to all of our great resources online and in our libraries, accessible for all of the students at LA Unified and a number of other schools as well. And that means you can get ebooks, streaming videos and films, just all of the tremendous resources at the Los Angeles Public Library. As part of this program, I really want to thank, as I always do, our fantastic Los Angeles Public Library staff, and especially the Get Ready for College Task Force that Madeline just mentioned. They've done a great job and always do a great job every year. I also want to thank the Library Foundation of Los Angeles and a very special person, Linda Duttenhaber. Linda is a longtime program sponsor of this initiative. She is an incredibly strong and passionate supporter of our libraries, and she really sees this program as investing in you and investing in your future and investing in your success. And we love this partnership with Linda Duttenhaber. We're so proud of it, and she's just been a steadfast supporter, a huge friend of the Los Angeles Public Library, and she really believes in all of you and believes in this program. And it is my great pleasure to introduce a dear friend of the Los Angeles Public Library and mine, Linda Duttenhaber. Thank you all so much.
Well, thank you, John, for such a lovely introduction and for all the work that you and the entire team does for the library. You guys are awesome and really making a difference, especially in these challenging times. So good morning, everyone. It's a great day to connect with the library, and I'm so glad that you all took the time and effort to join us virtually. As John mentioned, I've been a supporter of LA libraries all my life. It actually started when I was a little kid. My mother took us to our local library branch every week, And I eagerly participated in the summer reading program. That's where you try and read as many books as you could. And that was something I loved to do. I was just the kind of kid who just inhaled books, fascinated by all the worlds that opened up for me when I turned the pages. I've been going regularly to my local library, even during COVID, at least picking up books when I can, through the pickup window. And my local library just opened up last week. That was very exciting. It was amazing to go back inside there. And I wish that same joy for you guys when you get to do that. So it's always exciting to be among the books and those who cherish them. So as John mentioned, I created the Get Ready for College program in 2005. I can't believe it's been that long, and have been sponsoring them ever since because I strongly believe that college is important for your future success. College offers a much broader perspective on the world than middle and high school. While you are in college, you will learn about careers in areas you've never even thought of. You will meet people from all over the world. You will be exposed to a wealth of new ideas and new opportunities. You will become more independent and self-reliant. You will have a far better chance of getting the well-paid jobs that lead to financial security. This all means that you can do the nice things in life, things that you dream of doing. Maybe that's travel, once we're past COVID, or taking care of a family member or buying a home. Going to college can be the key to your happiness. As John mentioned, I invested in this program because of you. You are the future. Every one of you can change the world if you believe it and you do the work to make that happen. Your journey to that change and successful life starts today. So I encourage you to listen closely to our terrific speakers and learn from them about how you can go to college. They'll give you all sorts of information, even about funding, experiences, challenges, how to do it. You have a wealth of people around you who can help you to make that leap, which will make the change that's so important in your life. Finally, I want to leave you with an important message, and that is to take advantage of your library. Sometimes I think we take it for granted because it's been there forever and, you sort of know it's there, but the people in the library are dying to help you. They want to help you. They want to answer your questions, and they're available to you. So ask them for help. They actually have a goldmine of knowledge, and participate in great programs like this one and the many others that the library offers. These are the learning experiences that can make a positive difference in your life and in your future successes. So I'll turn it back to the sponsors of this. You'll have lots of great speakers following me, but thank you for being part of this. Thank you for making the effort to improve your lives and be part of the library. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Really, truly, I can't thank you enough for your generosity and your wise words this morning. And it's so true. The librarians are eager to help and share our knowledge and resources with you. So thank you so much. And thank you, John, for being here this morning too. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Madeline. Thank you, Linda.
So next up, I'd like to introduce Lynn Nguyen. She is our terrific YA librarian from the Chinatown Branch Library, and she is going to introduce our keynote speaker this morning.
Thank you, Madeline. I am so excited to be here with all of you today with our young scholars. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our next keynote speaker, Judge Eric Taylor. So welcome, Judge Eric Taylor. Now, before we begin our Q&A segment with our keynote speaker, I would like to remind all of our viewers to please submit your questions in the chat box. Without further ado, here we have Judge Taylor. I should just like to read a short bio, and I will interview Judge Taylor during our Q&A here. So Judge Taylor is the presiding judge of the Los Angeles County Superior Court. He is the head of the largest trial court in the country with 550 judicial officers, 4,600 employees working in 39 courthouses. And he has served the Los Angeles Superior Court for 22 years. Judge Taylor was elected to his current position as presiding judge in 2020. He's the only person to be elected twice to serve as president of the California Judges Association, which was in 2003 and 2016. Wow. The list goes on. So Judge Taylor, welcome. Could you share a bit of your life story of where you grew up, where you went to middle school and high school?
Sure. Thanks, Lynn. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for being patient and listening to me. And you were reading that bio, and I'm like, oh my God, like where did all that come from? I would say to that, if you're around long enough and you stay busy and you stay connected, then you do a lot of things, I guess, because I didn't set out to do that. But so I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up in the Crenshaw district, and with my mom and brother, and it was rough in the beginning. We never had a car. I mean, I didn't see the beach, I think, until I was like 10 or 11 years old. I mean, so, it was a different kind of life. And, my mom struggled a bit. And so, that's how I grew up. And, I guess, like, what's the story? I went to Audubon Middle School and 6th Avenue Elementary School. So I went to LA Unified Schools. And then I ended up getting a scholarship to go to a boarding school for high school. So I got a scholarship through something called the A Better Chance program, and it still exists, and it matches kids up with tutors and schools, and I've met other people from LA Unified that ended up going to like Exeter and Deerfield and a lot of schools around the country. So it's a good program, and LA Unified was really a key in my making myself eligible for that. So I really appreciated my teachers in LA Unified, the principals that helped me get tutors in LA Unified, because I still have a problem stuttering, and I had a lot of problem reading. So those were challenges for me. And so I had, again, a lot of support. I ended up going to that boarding school where I've been a trustee actually for that school too for about 16 years. Then I went to Dartmouth College. I had a lot of schools write me letters, and Dartmouth was one of the first. It's an Ivy League school in New Hampshire. And I went there sight unseen, back to that cold place from Los Angeles, which was really, really difficult. But I really enjoyed it. I wanted to be a doctor. I was a math major in pre-med, and then I decided 2 years in that I didn't want to do that anymore. And my parents were, not happy about that, but I said, it's my life, so I'm going to do what I want to do. I took a new major. I became a Spanish literature major and a math minor. I graduated from Dartmouth, came back, translated during the Olympics, worked at a law firm, decided I wanted to go to law school, and ended up going back to the University of Virginia for law school. It was a great choice for me. I love that place and the opportunities that it gave me. I ended up coming back to LA, became a lawyer in a couple big law firms. One I was there for about 2 years, and the other one for about 1.5 years. And I really decided I wanted to be in court more, to do, to build the value of myself. So, and I thought building that on that value was going to take me going into court and being confident with that. So did a lot of, I ended up leaving and going to the county counsel's office, where I represented the board of supervisors, the county, public works, the sheriff's department, the lifeguards. The lifeguards are my favorite clients. I always investigated all my own cases when I had the lifeguard cases, and always on a Friday afternoon. And then someone said, hey, you'd be a good judge. You should try to be a judge. And I had been a lawyer for about 10 years, and I was 34, I think. And I was like, well, I'm kind of young for that. I don't know. And then I applied just to see what happened. And then within a year, the governor appointed me to be a judge. And all of it was, I didn't think that was going to happen. I was at the Inglewood Municipal Court. I became the presiding judge there after a couple years, and then we merged with the Superior Court. I became a district supervisor for like Inglewood and down to Torrance in the South Bay. We had about 40 judges down there. I was their supervisor. Then I became president of the California Judges Association, and you said all the rest of the story. Eventually, I was elected to be the presiding judge of Los Angeles. And so my colleagues elected me, and here I am, and in this nice office, but with all the work that you can't see that's off screen. and all the challenges that go with it. But it's a great job, and I love it. I get to serve the community. I get to make big decisions. We have about an $850 million budget every year with all of our employees, and we serve all 10 million people in Los Angeles. So it's a great job.
Wow. There are so many moving parts to your story, and I absolutely love hearing that you went through so many different programs from middle school all the way up to high school, and then going straight to Dartmouth and the University of Virginia for law school. So I want to see if we can try and break it down a little bit to turn back time and see what was your thought process while you were, growing up. And did you visit any libraries when you were a child? And what were some of your fondest memories?
I did go to a few libraries, but mostly on campuses. I mean, I would get on the bus and go out to UCLA and just take my skateboard and go to the library and just look around. But again, we didn't have a car, so it was, I didn't have access the way I wanted to. But at my school at Audubon, I went to the library a lot, and at 6th Avenue School. And I ate lunch in the library, so I was that geeky kid that went to the library. But I like to play basketball too, so I played basketball in the afternoons, and during lunch I was in the library. Just like, I mean, they had seminars like this about careers, and I enjoyed hearing what people were doing with their lives. I mean, and then you started, in the library you get to see what's available. Like, there's so much more to life than what we know growing up, and even with the internet. But until you actually experience things and see them and read about them and really get the ideas in your head, you just don't know what you're capable of. So, and did I ever think that my life would be this way? No, I never thought that. And in libraries, the one at my schools and the one out at UCLA just showed me a whole different way. And so they did play a big role for me, but not the public libraries around me, because they were too far away for me. It was the one at school that I went to the most.
Thank you for sharing that. I know you mentioned that you were raised along your brother and single mother. What were some of the things that you did to stay focused on your schoolwork, and how did your mother and your brother support you along the way?
Yeah, well, my brother distracted me. Okay, so I'll just say that right. He was the fun brother that said, "Hey, we got to go have more fun." And so, but he was always supportive of me. Especially when people tease me about being that kid that went to the library during lunch. So my younger brother helped to support me. My mom, she always said things like I would see things or read about things, and I'd ask her, and she said, "Well, then you need to stay in school, and you need to do well so that you can do those things, because those weren't things that we could do." And so she said, just stay focused. And even though my dad didn't live with us, my dad was around. So we did things together. We traveled with him. And he was a really big inspiration to me. He was a freedom rider during the civil rights movement, and so he constantly would bring things to my attention about opportunities that I should look into, and he would always say, get an education, because it's the only thing that no one can take from you, and that stuck with me. He also told me, get the best education that you can, no matter where it is and no matter how much it costs, because ultimately it's going to be the most valuable thing that you ever possess. And he was right about that. And so all my family really did support me quite a bit, as did my teachers. Honestly, they were amazing. My teachers along the way, who, when I went to boarding school, saw that I was really behind in math. I mean, like, to the point where I was getting D's, and I'd never gotten bad grades before. And he took me, and for a whole semester, Saturdays, I was learning math from the very beginning to the very end, relearning it all over again, which piqued my interest. And I wanted to become a math major when I went to college because of it. And he was no fun for that 6 months. He was no fun, but I did really appreciate him after the fact. So those are the people that supported me.
I love hearing your stories, and especially about your father being a freedom writer. Yeah. The story about about learning math, when you felt like you didn't understand how to do it, what were some of the things that you did to commit yourself and push yourself to ask for help? Like, how did you do it with this math teacher?
Yeah, you know, when I saw that I wasn't doing well, like I hate failing anything. So, you know, I just learned that from early on, and it's worked for me since. When something challenges me, um, I just have to focus on it, and I have to learn from the very beginning, just step by step, until I learn all the way through the complicated parts. But you start building on an education. So clearly, I mean, if you struggle with some things, it's because you don't have the foundation for it. So you have to go back and see, well, how much do I really know? And then build on that. And then you get to the complicated part and you say, oh, that's really not that complicated. And you keep building and building. And so, I mean, that's what I do. I mean, when I prepare for anything that's challenging, like everybody who knows me knows that I get nervous before I speak at anything. Even now, even coming here, I was getting nervous. I was calling friends and asking, calling some librarians, asking, well, what am I supposed to say? And they said, oh, talk about these things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I have little cheat notes in front of me, and I'll look down and say, these are the things I wanted to cover. But it's really about preparation. Anything in life is about preparation. And you can always do anything. I mean, anybody, if one human has done it, you can do it too. Nobody is smarter than you. And I used to think that people were just naturally just smarter. And yeah, I mean, some people are a little bit smarter, but nobody can outwork me. And so I kind of got that in my head that if I really want something, that I can get it. I just have to take a step back, turn off the TV, turn off the social media, and just say, okay, well, let me understand this. And on the backside, when you've achieved, you feel so good about what you've done, and people admire you for what you've done. Like all the things you said that I did in my life, I mean, those are all like me getting really nervous, me preparing speeches, saying I can't do it, and then learning everything about the court, everything about our judges, like meeting people. It just takes work, and once you've done it, it's really easy. Honestly, this job is not that hard. I thought it was hard. It has challenges, but if you focus, it's fine, and you'll do well.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you for sharing your advice.
Sure.
I know, upon when you said that you wanted to major in math, and then, of course, when you applied to Dartmouth College, what was your undergraduate major in?
So my undergraduate major was math, and then it became Spanish literature with a math minor. And became Spanish literature because one of my Spanish teachers or my counselor said, you only need like 3 more Spanish classes to complete a major. Like, you must really like it. And I said, yeah. Of course, I traveled to Spain and to Mexico and lived there because of the foreign study program. So, it was difficult at first, but it became easy. And I started to really enjoy it. And it opened up new information for me about Spain and Spanish history, about European history. So, like, just again, that building on the language took me into our architecture, took me into to the war, the migration into Europe. I mean, I learned so much just by learning Spanish. So that ended up being my major. Of course, again, I told you my parents were, especially my dad. He was like, "I thought you were going to be a doctor. What are you doing?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm like Forrest Gump. Like, I'll do well in whatever I focus on, and it'll take me someplace where I'm supposed to be." And everybody's life is different. I want to tell the students that all your lives are different. When anyone tells you, here's the formula for success, they're wrong. Life is not like this. It's not a straight line up. Life is like all this stuff and twists and turns. And really the beauty, the elegance of a beautiful life is in those twists and turns, because that's where you learn about yourself. That's what you learn, what you're capable of. And that's where you learn what you're really interested in, what your passions are. And I'll say this too. I know a lot of the students. A lot of you doubt yourselves. You doubt where things are going. You maybe been bullied. I was bullied, as a kid, and I had people looking out for me. But life is long, and the things that you'll experience and the challenges that you'll face ultimately will be the things that you rely on for strength and for your confidence. And typically when people focus on you because I stuttered at one, I still do, and I learned how to deal with it. But when people focus on that part of you, it really says more about them and their weaknesses and less about you. So anyway, I really enjoy the failures that I've had. I really do. I mean, I absorb them and cherish them because it just makes the successes that much better.
Absolutely, 100%. And I couldn't agree more. Yeah, life is definitely not a straight line. You got to go through so many things and experience so many things in order to figure out what it is that you're meant for. But, it's never a one way. So definitely agree. What were some of the first jobs that you had in college? Did you work while you're in college? And how did you find that balance with your schoolwork?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I worked on and off all the time. Law school, they wouldn't let me work, although I did at the beginning, and then they said, you're not supposed to be working. Your first year of law school, you're not allowed to. So, but my very first job, I answered phones at my high school, and that lasted 3 weeks because I apparently wasn't very good at answering phones. And then my first real job was helping at the airport, like the baggage handling. I wasn't even the person who put bags on the plane. I was the person they sent down those belts to go get the clogs out of, when the bags got all stacked up. They sent me down in there. And so it was that was my first job in the summer before college. In college, I had odd jobs, the cafeteria, just, whatever they had on the job board. And so, yeah, I mean, I tried to work, but I mean, and then, someone told me to, there's a reason why we don't let students work in law school. It's because you're supposed to be focusing on learning the trade and learning the law, and there's plenty to do with that. And they wanted you to be the best student that you could be so you could become the best lawyer. And so I didn't work through the remainder of law school, except in the summers when we went off to summer associates, and you make really good money doing that. So I learned that I really didn't have to work during the year at school, but undergrad and high school and summers, I worked every single time. I had a job in an insurance company. I mean, I cleaned garages with my brother. I mean, that was a business we started. Cleaning people's garages apparently is a big thing. So yeah, but I've had jobs along the way.
That's so great. How did you pay for your own college education? I understand that you may have had a scholarship, but what were some other ways that you funded college?
Yeah, so for college, here's a little secret. If you apply to the top schools, the ones you think are the most expensive, they have the most money. So if you apply to Harvard, and I would say to you, everybody listening, you only get to live once. So like if you had a dream of going to a particular school, just apply. Let them tell you no. And I have a thing that people tell me no, I still don't accept it. So I'll ask for an appeal, and then I'll call the dean, and I'll talk to everybody until they say yes. So if I were still trying to get into Dartmouth, I'd still be applying right now until they got tired of me. But apply to the school that you want to go to, because you only get to apply to college once, and then it's done. But the college that you go to and the education that you get will be with you for the rest of your life. So even if you don't get accepted to the college of your dreams, then go to the college of your choice, and then ask to transfer. Do really well and ask to transfer if that's what you really want. But don't be afraid to apply to the most competitive schools. You'd be surprised. And I've been on the admissions committee for Dartmouth, and I was surprised to learn that it's not really about how well you do. It's about where you came from and how well you did with where you started. That's what they want to know. So if you had challenges, like if you stuttered, or if you had trouble reading like I did, if you grew up with challenging environment around you, they want to hear the story. So tell them the story of your life. Tell them about it. If you had a loss in your family, then tell them about it and tell them how you overcame it, because they're looking for what they call grit. That's what they're looking for. They want people who are going to be leaders in the world to be graduates from their schools. So if you can show them that you're going to be a leader, then that's the, I just told you the secret to everything. That's the formula that the best schools are looking for. And they're trying to build classes that are self-sustaining, that of folks that somebody can be the president, somebody can be the treasurer, somebody can be the head of this committee or be a varsity athlete. They're looking for a community of people who are leaders, who are going to go out into the world. So, and another thing my dad told me is that, like, go to the best school you can get into, no matter what it costs. I don't necessarily think that's totally true now. If you get a half scholarship to, the school of your choice, and the school of your dreams said, we're giving you nothing, and it costs like $100,000, some ridiculous amount a year, that's a different choice. I mean, the school of your choice can be the right choice. So, and what was the formula for grad schools? What was the formula? So for grad school, I think they're looking for the same thing. I mean, they're looking to see how you did in college. They're looking to see what, once you got in, were you in clubs? Were you the president of the club? Were you, it's not just like having a bunch of things in your resume. It's having leadership on your resume. I think that's what law schools are looking for too. Law schools also are looking for people who can reason. What advice you have for kids that think college is not for them? Okay. Okay, Ann, I'll answer that too. So yeah, but that's what they're all looking for. I mean, everybody wants to be a part of a winning team, right? So they're trying to pick players like when you pick up games, right? I want that player because I think that player is good, because everybody wants to win. So, yeah, I mean, make the best of it, and then try new things in school, like try things that are outside your comfort zone, and move forward. Okay, kids who are not thinking about college, it's funny. I don't think there is a person who is not college material, because if you can learn, college is for you. And if you make the choice early on to deny yourself that opportunity to learn on a higher level. And when I say higher, I don't mean like, well, it's scary higher level. It's like a building on what you have. It's building and building and building. So, don't be afraid, because, there's some courses called trigonometry. I mean, it sounds like a crazy name, but trigonometry is no more difficult than addition if you know how to add, and then you know how to multiply, and then it just keeps building. So everybody's college material, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it can be city college, it can be your community college. Those are building blocks. So do the best with what you have available and keep building. When I started out, I didn't think I'd become the presiding judge of Los Angeles. Like, I started out as a municipal court judge doing traffic cases. Like, did he run the stop sign? Did she not wear a seatbelt? I mean, that's what I was doing. And then, over time, I started getting into more interesting and complex issues involving the court. And you want to live an interesting life. You want to be able to look back when it's all over. Somebody said that hell is being in your last minutes of life and thinking about all the things that you wanted to do but never did. That's hell. But heaven is knowing that you've completed your journey, that you've done all the great things that you wanted to do. You've helped people, you've made the world a better place, and that you've achieved excellence in your life. And I think that's what it's about. So everybody is college material. Everybody is presiding judge material. Honestly, everybody is. Should kids who are 11 to 13 be worrying about college now? Yes. That's a
Yes.
good question, Boo. Is that Boo? Okay.
Boo.
Is that Boo or Bo? Okay. Yeah, you should be worried. You shouldn't worry about college. You should just be preparing for it. Just like you prepare for tomorrow, or you prepare for a week from now. You should be preparing for your life. So, yeah. And right now, if you are 11 or 13, I mean, colleges they'll start to look back at where you are right now. Now, if you're 11 and you're struggling with something, if you get to 14 and you've overcome that challenge, then that's something beautiful in your life that you should share with people. So yes, that's What am I?
Yes, that's
Okay.
great.
Was it harder for you being a non-white male? Yes, it was harder, but I have a lot of friends of all different races and nationalities, and that's sort of what college and school does for you. It introduces you to other people. Um, and and they used to ask, well, somebody said this about you, or we'd go to some place and somebody would say some racial slur or something, and my buddies would get around me, hey, we got your back, and I'm like, it's okay, and people are like, man, this really sucks, and I'm like, yeah, it must really suck never to be challenged, because I get challenged all the time, and I think it's built character in me. So was it hard? Yeah, at times, but it's like I've never been a white male, so I don't know what that's like. I just know what it's like to be me, and I know what challenges I have. Everybody has challenges. My friends do. I mean, I have white friends who call me and ask me for advice, and Asian friends who ask me for advice. But everybody has challenges. So being a person of color has its own challenges. I mean, we all know about all the protests happening right now. We all know what, I mean, that, as a man of color, you think about, well, something could happen to me, but it's not just by police. It could be, I'm going into the wrong neighborhood. That's what I used to think more about. But I think it helps you become smarter about things. And honestly, it helps motivate me because anytime I'm faced with a challenge, I think, I accept it and I embrace it, and hopefully it makes me better and helps me help other people too. How do you know if a college or university is right for you? This is a great interview. Snow mix. Okay. Okay.
Such great questions from our audience.
Tell me if I'm going over my time. I don't know how much time I have.
Well, we have a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that, okay, when I was choosing colleges, it was like, okay, I was looking at the pictures, and there was, look, I mean, I was looking at colleges in 1979. So there was no, I couldn't visit the school, and I couldn't afford to go. I looked at pictures in a book. There was no internet. So
yeah, there was no internet. I don't think it came out to the 90s.
Right. And so you didn't know that. So it was more like, okay, let me ask people who went there. So I know Dartmouth has a really strong alumni community, and so I would just tap into that. And they had barbecues and parties, and I just went and talked to the people, and some other schools too that I got into. And I liked the feel of Dartmouth more than the other schools. University of Virginia, the same thing. I got into Georgetown, a bunch of other law schools and I went and visited all of them, and my friends were at Georgetown, and they were like, "Oh, come here, because we got a house in Georgetown. We're going to have parties just like in college, and it's going to be a lot of fun." And I went and saw the old dirty house they lived in because they had a lot of parties. And then I went to the University of Virginia, and the sun was setting. I was late to getting down there because I got lost. And okay, I'll tell the story in 2 minutes. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. 2 minutes.
So I jumped off the highway. I was already late. I missed my appointment with the dean of financial aid, and I stopped and asked this young lady, "Hey, where's the law school? I'm kind of late." And she said, and then she just jumped in the car, and she goes, "Well, drive down here. I have to go to class." And I'm like, okay. So I have this girl in my car who I don't know, and I'm driving, and I'm scared. Like, I don't know. I'm in the South. I don't know what I'm. And so she goes, "All right, go around the corner and get out here. You're going to love the school. I know you're going to come." And this is a rotunda that Thomas Jefferson built. And it was like the sun was setting on it. Everybody was out, reading books on the lawn. I went to the school. The dean wasn't there. A student walked out of one of the classrooms. They were taking exams. And he said, his name was Bernard. He said, "Oh, I know where the dean is. We're going to his house for a party." So we went to his house. And the dean was there making barbecue, and I walked up, and he said, "Eric, I thought we had missed you." He goes, "But you came at the right time. It's sunset, and I have a hamburger for you." And he goes, "So what do we have to do to get you to come to the school?" And I said, "You just did." I just felt like it was the right place for me. And that guy Bernard, who left his exam to show me around the school and took me to the barbecue, he's on the Supreme Court of Virginia.
Wow.
So
That's
when you know it, you know it. When you know it, you know it. It's just like, it's like dating. It's like ice cream. You know your favorite ice cream. Just go around, you sample, and you figure out what's right for you.
great, great advice. Wonderful advice. And I hope our students there understand that, you got to take these chances and see what feels right, what feels good. And if it doesn't feel right, and if it doesn't feel good, keep trying. You got to try all the flavors, right? Yeah. Right. I know we're running towards the end of our program, but I do have a few more questions I wanted to ask you. Can you share more about your work with developing the mentoring program called Good City Mentors with the LA Unified School District? What is that program about, and how can students participate?
Yeah, so Good City Mentors existed already, and we went to LA Unified. We were trying to put our judicial officers in classrooms to help mentor students. And LA Unified said, we're working with Good City Mentors, and we want to build on that program. So it'd be great if you got involved. And Good City has people from Google, from LeBron James's media company, from Nike. All these different companies are involved with it, and they volunteer their time going to various schools. Like, I think I go to Westchester High School. And we talk to kids who are like me, who were kind of struggling, but who show a lot of promise and who need just some support. And we talk to them about, like, not about like topics in law or anything. We talk to them about life. Like, a topic might be blessings, a topic might be challenges. And we talk about the challenges we've had or the blessings we've had on another day. And then you really get to know a person because you're talking on that level. So now students find themselves talking to the CEO of Google or the presiding judge of Los Angeles, and getting to see that we're just the same. We're all the same. It's just that we've had more time to work through the process, but we're all the same fears, the same challenges, the same joys. Everybody wants and needs the same thing. And so we love Good City Mentors. We love LA Unified and working with them. We have about 50 judges who are involved in Good City. But we also have a mentoring program to diversify and enhance the pool of people, of lawyers who could potentially be judges. So we started a mentoring program with that. We have 100 judges involved in that program and almost 200 people who want to be mentees of these judges. So mentoring is extremely important. If you don't have a mentor, find somebody you admire and ask for advice. Like, just say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? I know you guys don't drink coffee. Not yet, I hope. But ask if you can sit down with them and ask them how they did what they did. It's not going to be your story, but you're going to learn something from them about your ability to achieve the same thing, because there's no magic trick. All of us who are successful have been just like you. We've been sitting in a classroom or at home watching this, and we've all had the same anxiety, fears, and people not thinking you're cool, or you're trying to be really cool, or there's all these things they're all in your head that you're trying to fit in, when really in the end it's about fitting into yourself, not fitting in with other people.
I agree. Great advice. I know we're towards the end of our interview here. One very last question. Do you have any words of advice for students who may be dealing with struggles? What are some things that you do to care for your own mental health, and how do you stay focused?
Yeah, with me, it's changed over time. Volunteering has been something I've enjoyed. I volunteered at a state mental hospital when I was in high school, in the Los Niños program in Mexico, helping to build homes there when I was in high school. So that was sort of ingrained in me from the beginning. So volunteering and giving back it really makes me feel better. Even talking to the students, they think they're the ones getting something out of this. Really, it's me that gets to feel good the rest of the day. because I get to be honest and like really share what's led me here. But other than that, like I love traveling. I love traveling. So I've been pretty much everywhere. I haven't been to Galapagos Islands yet. I really want to go there. But and I also love to work out. Like that's the time where I get to just be in my own head. So riding my bike, I rode 25 miles yesterday. And it was, and when I say I'm going to go to lunch, it may mean that I'm just going to get on my bike and be away from everybody. But just that quiet time with some music in my ear and is what I really love, and it helps me be up and ready for any challenges.
That's great advice. Judge Taylor, thank you so much for spending your time with us today and for sharing your life story and giving our amazing students and young scholars advice on how you succeeded. We really appreciate you and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what other things you can add to your bio later on.
Well, hopefully some of these young people will come and take my job, so I can swear you in to my job, and then I can go off and keep traveling the world and come back and visit sometimes. But thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And just viewers, we are going to turn over our recording here to Monica Garcia, who is our LAUSD board president.
Hello, super fabulous scholars. My name is Monica Garcia, and I'm very proud to be your school board member at LA Unified. I was elected in 2006, and it's possible that I've been on the board all of your life. And here is my message to you. We need you. We love you. We believe in you. We have high expectations. And I want you to know that it is so important for you to consider who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get there. I'm going to tell you, for me, I'm a first generation college goer. My parents are Mexican immigrants that met at Stevenson Middle School. And what I learned from them is that hard work and optimism, faith in yourself and your family, your community really does go far. When I went to UC Berkeley and had a horrible first semester, I had 2 deaths in my family, car accident on the day of my political science final, and so many Garcias in my Chicano studies class. I got somebody else's F. And when things went wrong, I went to get help and I got some bad information. And what I had to do at Berkeley is take a step back. I came home for about a year, went back after I decided that I wasn't giving up. I wasn't giving up on myself and my dreams. I wasn't giving up on my parents and their dreams. And I wasn't giving up on my grandparents and my Nina and my tias and everybody who believed in me. And so that was a powerful lesson. And I just want you to know it may not be easy. And it won't be easy, actually, for sure. It won't be easy. You gotta know who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do for that, and follow those dreams. So I need you to know that we all are counting on you. This world needs you. I graduated from Cal. I have a Chicano Studies and Political Science degree. And then later on, I went on to USC and got a master's in social work, because you know what? I'm a big metiche, I'm a big helper, and I believe systems do change. But I think part of that happens when people get involved. So sometimes could be homework isn't that interesting, could be social distancing is a challenge, could be you're not in your favorite class every day. But what matters is that your journey is special. Your journey is your journey. And so guess what? You're the captain of that journey. I'm really proud of myself and my family for achieving that graduation. But more than that, I'm proud of myself and my family for not giving up. So today I'll just tell you, please, never, ever, 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 ever give up on you. We need you in this world. There's plenty of opportunity and support for you. Keep going. You're special. I can't wait to see you at graduation.
That was such a great message from our LAUSD board president, Monica Garcia. And now we have a few messages from our high school students and current college students here to share some tips, tricks, and share some information on what college life is like and how it's changed for them. Watch the video till the very end and you'll hear an inspirational message featuring one of our young keynote speakers that some of you may recognize who was recently accepted into Harvard, Cielo Echegoyen. Students, take it away.
My name's Fiona. I'm a sophomore at Palisades Charter High School. I plan to go to a four-year college and eventually graduate school. One piece of advice that I wish I knew in middle school that would help me get into college is I wish I knew how many free resources there are online. The intensity level of education obviously jumps pretty drastically between like elementary to middle school and then like middle school to high school, and to something that can like help you along with that for your grades is free tutoring options, whether it's like at the library or it's more something on your own through services like Khan Academy. Khan Academy is great because it teaches you and provides with like practice problems for really in-depth understanding. Another thing that I recommend is to go to all the meetings that your school offers about college if they offer them. For example, at my school, school counselors are not always available for one-on-one talks on your future. However, I learned a lot about how many APs to take, what scholarships to apply for, what grades you need to get to go to various schools through these meetings, because usually it's a smaller pool of people, so you can more easily ask questions after the meeting because they're not mandatory. My last bit of advice is to seek out and learn new things that you're interested in. I used to be intimidated. I'm still intimidated. I'm still quite the scaredy cat. However, if you really want to learn something, go for it. It's never too old to learn something, and you're probably still very young and still can learn whatever you want to learn. So yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Brittany. I'm currently a junior and I go to Eagle Rock High School in Los Angeles. I'm thinking of going to a four-year college and majoring in the medical field. Something that I wish I knew when I was just getting into high school is everything counts. Basically, the classes you take, the extracurricular you take, and basically your grades. So colleges will definitely look at all three of those things on your resume and especially on your application when you're actually applying to colleges once you're a senior. So I want to talk about classes first. So if your school offers any AP classes or honors classes or anything like that, definitely challenge yourself and take them. Obviously, you want to think about what subjects do I feel the most strong in, because those subjects are going to be the subjects you'll be taking in some harder level classes. I also want to say that extracurriculars are going to stand out in your resume. That's something that you should also take while you're just getting into high school. Any student activities that your school has, join them. Anything you're interested in, definitely think about what, interests you, whether it's art, music, dance, anything like that. Definitely join any clubs or any teams that your school has with your interests. Grades is something that colleges will always look at no matter what. So you want to work hard for better grades and straight A's. I hope you guys get those. But key to success, especially in grades, is always maintaining a good work habit. You want to be active in class. Obviously, you want to be listening to the lesson your teacher is, teaching you. You want to ask questions to understand the subject or lesson. Thank you for listening, and I hope that your guys' high school years will be great. Bye!
Hi, my name is Meryl, and I'm currently a junior at University High School Charter, which is located in Los Angeles. And if I could give my 8th grade self an advice, I think it's to be more connected and to talk to more of your high school teachers once you enter high school, because they can really help you and guide you throughout your high school career. And I was often too nervous or too shy to talk to any of them, and because of that I tried to distance myself from them, and I learned it the hard way recently that they really want the best for you and they want you to succeed and they want you to seek help. And especially if you're taking hard classes like honors classes, AP classes, or extracurriculars or anything else in the matter, that these teachers and counselors, they would support you and help you along the way. And I wish I knew this before I entered high school, because I could have had a stronger bond and stronger relationship with some of my teachers. And I think this is helpful in high school, but also helpful in college later on, because seeking help from your peers or your professors can provide you with great support and provide you with opportunities for you to thrive in college, which I look forward to.
Hello, my name is Amara Vergara. I am a sophomore in Los Angeles at New West Charter School. One thing I wish I knew when I was in middle school is how many free opportunities your school and organizations outside of your school provide. A lot of the time, SAT and ACT prep can be extremely expensive, but organizations like the LA Library actually provide free resources for SAT and ACT prep. One thing I'm still worried about is paying for college. College is notorious for being expensive. However, there are resources that make it a lot easier on people who can't afford it. Scholarships are a great resource. You don't have to pay back scholarships. It's free money. A lot of the times, applications are free, and it's a lot more of an easy process than I think we think it is. A lot of companies give grants as well, so I use a few different websites. There's one called Scholarship Owl, FastWeb, Niche is really great, as well as Raise Me, the app. And those have the major scholarships, but there are also a lot of less competitive scholarships that smaller organizations have. I know if you're on social media, Instagram, a lot of companies will give away microgrants to students who want to pay for college and want to go to college but can't really afford it. Oh, my school does not offer APs, and a lot of the time colleges are looking for APs and that you're putting your best foot forward and trying the most rigorous classes, but my school does not provide AP classes. So students are able to still get that college experience by going to community college classes, which are actually free and they're really, really easy to sign up for. I know SMC has a great program and there are a lot in Los Angeles, so definitely try doing those.
Hello everybody, my name is Brian Hernandez. I am a senior at University High School Charter in LA. So there are many mistakes that we make throughout our lives, and for me, most of it was in high school. So I'll break it down for you guys. One thing, there are several things I wish I could do, or I wish I could, if I could go back to the beginning of high school, is to take my education more seriously. I know I mentioned that, you should always think about college when you're in high school. Yes, that is true. We should also always constantly think about your education, because that's what's most important. It's what's going to make you who you are in the future. It's what's going to drive you down the path of your career, of your choice. So that's something I should have done, instead of listening to other people who say that freshman and senior year aren't important. After switching schools, I found out that that is not true. And something else I would change is to learn more socially. So what I mean by that is not to just talk with my friends or hang out with the crowd I'm used to, but to talk to my peers as well, people in my classroom, because group work is essential in high school. It's something we'll always have to do no matter what, even if we're long into the future and we have our dream job. And another thing is to find a balance. I wish I could have found a balance between my education, my physical health, and my mental health. If you lose balance in one of them, you can hurt yourself and it's just going to create it worse. So I guess what I wish I could have done is, make a planner or make a sheet that would remind me what to do to get myself distracted from education or get myself distracted from all the news that is going on outside, such as COVID-19. And another major factor is to find good friends. That didn't happen to me until junior year when I switched schools. So finding good friends would and will help others excel in the future. They would help me do better in my work, or I can ask them if they can help me or tutor me on how to do a certain problem in math. And those are some things that I wish I could go back and do differently. It's something that would help develop who I am as a person even more than I already have.
Hi, my name is Diana Castro, and I'm a junior at Immaculate Heart High School in LA. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to speak on some of my experiences to encourage many students into putting their greatest effort into the years leading up to college. One thing that I believed helped me in middle school, including throughout these 3 years in high school, was always talking to my counselors. whether it's applying to new schools, scholarships, or questions about getting ready for the following year. Whether you're in middle school or high school, it is never a bad idea to talk with your counselors, as they can understand what goals you aim for as a student and answer any of your questions, as they are there to help you. I would also highly encourage students to find different resources to help them, such as library programs that provide information and tips from different people in different careers. Additionally, seeking help from teachers on concerns you may have can also be a huge help as well. Now, high school can be quite tough as time management comes into play, along with new classes and slowly preparing for senior year with applications, scholarships, and tests. As a first gen, my biggest worries for college would be financial aid and scholarships, since I plan to attend a 4-year school. Although tuitions can be my main concerns and additional costs like textbooks, I always keep in mind that programs, including colleges, have scholarships and financial aid that they provide. Therefore, this all connects to always doing more research on schools that provide the best scholarships for you, and talking to your counselor or someone that can help you in order to take these small steps and not feel overwhelmed throughout the process.
So my name is Liam, and I go to Santa Monica College. I'm a sophomore, and I specialize in computer engineering. Well, I chose to attend Santa Monica College mostly because of financials. I got into some 4-year universities, but I ended up deciding that it was more worth it to go to Santa Monica College for the 2 years before I transfer. Well, I got into UC Riverside and CSUN, or Cal State Northridge, and I visited both campuses, and I thought it was pretty good. And I checked the amount of money I had to pay for it, and it was just it was in the magnitudes of 20,000 or so per year. I decided, well, let me take a look at Santa Monica College, where I always also applied, and they have a program that I qualified for that let me get free tuition, free classes, and $1,000 or so in credit for textbooks. So I started to think, I mean, I'm already intending to transfer to a higher rated university. So why would I spend, maybe 40 or 50,000 for 2 years when I could spend much, much less? I do hope to transfer. I applied to the top 5 UCs and the Cal Poly schools, which are the Cal States that specialize in engineering. And I hope to go to one of them. I'm very happy with any of them. They're all very, very good schools. And it's mainly that engineering focus that really drives me to these schools specifically. For me personally, it was more of it was that next step for me where I needed that little training ground to become comfortable with college level schoolwork and other people, because I was shy in high school. But there's also some more real benefits where the programs at community college are easier to get into. And there were, I found that the counselors and the help you got was a lot more personal at Santa Monica College, where they would really look into your situation and give you advice that's best for you. They ask you, where do you want to transfer? And what do you need for it? And then they tell me, this is what you need, this is the timeline, and we'll help you get there. And then they give you their contact information so you can ask for help again. The professors I find are excellent. Now, there's a little bit of skill involved in finding the ones that are best for you, but I find that they're every bit as good as any of my friends who went to the 4-year universities have said theirs are. This is what I personally did, and I found it effective, is to start small and engage with your teacher in high school and your classmates first, and just get yourself comfortable with really talking to not just your peers, but also figures of authority. And then start joining the clubs that you're passionate about, things you actually really enjoy. So for me, that would have been Dungeons and Dragons, or in Santa Monica College's place, I did computer programming. And from there, you can move on to going out of your comfort zone more, where you can join the clubs that you more think, it's less that you really, really enjoy them, but you think you need them, and you need them to become more professional, to advance your career or your hopes for your career. And by that point, you'll feel a lot more comfortable reaching out and talking to people, even if it's your first time, you've never met them. It just take it small, step by step, and you'll get there. I feel like APs are pretty important right now when it comes to getting into universities. But I think you should start by taking the AP you find most interesting, because if you're interested in the class, you'll find it a lot easier to involve yourself and do well. So of course that comes with the caveat that some high schools don't allow you to take some APs. So you work with what you have. I mean, I had a choice between AP World and AP Euro as my first AP, and I chose World because I find world history more interesting. And from there, you just keep going on. I am happy with the path I chose, but if I did go back, I probably would have changed my outlook on school itself and tried to separate school as an entirely different institution than the rest of my life. As in, no matter what's going on, I need to make sure I'm putting my all into school. And the reason for that is because if I wanted to get into those universities that I really, at the time, I thought, oh, well, I'll get there eventually. There's a little bit more to it than just hoping. And I would have put in that extra effort, and I would have gotten myself out there more and talked to more people, joined more programs and clubs and everything that I feel like I wanted to do, but was afraid to.
My name is Roberto Perez. I graduated from San Fernando Senior High School in Pacoima. Currently, I'm attending University of California, Santa Barbara, or UCSB, and I'm majoring in electrical engineering. I'm a third year, by the way. So what I wanted to share with you all is, just some advice. So when I think about what I would tell myself if I back in 8th or 9th grade, I wish I knew how important the GPA was early in high school. I didn't actually start caring about it in 11th to 12th grade. And, when I think about it, I realize this is because, at least for me in middle school and just in elementary, even you just do good because your parents tell you to do good, right? Your parents tell you, oh, get those good grades. And you just do it because they tell you to. But for me, I didn't realize that I was doing it for myself until high school. I wanted to go into electrical engineering. Electrical engineers have high GPAs, and if you want to get into it, you got to be competitive and grind on your GPA. So some helpful hints that I have for you all to, make college a reality for you is to join a club, and, anything that you find interesting, just join it and try, be involved. What colleges like to see is they like to see that you've stayed committed to this club, and possibly you have, gotten a leadership position, whether it's vice president, president, treasurer, anything that shows that you have committed yourself to this club. For example, the University of California, they have these what are called personal statements, which are essays that allow you to talk more about yourself as a person. And this shows the University of California what kind of person you are, how you deal with problems. So it's a chance for you to show that you're not just a GPA, you're more than that. I lived right across the street from the Pacoima branch, and as a result, I found myself spending a lot of time there as a volunteer, and that's one thing. Well, that's one way that the library helped me, and the same way that it can help you. They have a lot of volunteering opportunities. When I was there, I volunteered as a math tutor. I helped elementary kids, middle schoolers, just solve some math problems and stuff. It's rewarding for yourself because, you leave knowing that you help somebody out with their homework question or whatever it may be. The library was hosting a lot of SAT prep. Some universities required your SAT scores. So you had to take your SAT if you wanted to go to that specific university. But yeah, they had a lot of SAT prep. So that's one way that the library could help you out. When I was in high school, one really big challenge that I had is, after I applied to my universities and I got the acceptance letters, I really had a hard time deciding which ones I wanted to go to. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other college students can agree to this. So my final choices were between UCLA and UCSB. And the reason why it was so hard for me is because, UCLA is considered the top public university in the United States, and I'm sure the world. So I got into UCLA for math, and I got into UCSB for electrical engineering. Now, for me, I knew I wanted to do engineering, but UCSB is ranked lower than UCLA. So I had to choose whether I wanted to go to UCLA because of the prestige and go into math and, risk maybe not transferring into the College of Engineering, because it could be, they say that it's hard to transfer into the College of Engineering. Or I could play it safe, go to UCSB and, just dive straight into the major. So ultimately, that's what I decided to do. I went to UCSB. And another factor was distance from home. Like in Pacoima, UCLA is like maybe 30 minutes away on the freeway, and UCSB is about 2 hours. So as for me, I didn't care the distance because I just wanted to be away from home. But, my mom definitely cared about how far I was from home. And, 2 hours, I feel like is a perfect distance for you to be to become an adult, basically, because you're not close to home anymore. But it's also a good distance for your family to visit you if they wanted to visit you for a weekend. Why did I go to college? The first thing that pops in my head is job opportunity. If I'm being honest, a lot of jobs require a college degree. So job opportunities is probably the main reason why I'm attending university. But, there are other things, of course. When you go to college, you learn to become responsible because it's nothing like high school. You just watch lecture, your professor teaches you, but you have to do all your homework at home. All the extra studying and stuff is done at home. You learn to manage your time. You learn to set your priorities. This is what you need to do first. And if you have time left over, you can do what you want to do, Another thing is you meet incredible people. Universities are so diverse, especially in California. You learn people from many, many different places, coming from many economic classes. And I think it really opens your eyes when you talk to these people. It's definitely something it's a beautiful experience in my opinion. When you get to college, you're gonna feel, and I'm speaking from experience, you're gonna feel like giving up for sure. I think it's normal for every college student to feel this way, but I'm gonna tell you not to give up. I felt, in high school, I graduated like top 3 of my class. And I thought like, wow, I'm badass, right? I'm super smart. But when you come here, there are a lot of people that are just like you. And it's hard. You can definitely start to feel like you have an identity crisis. You feel like you don't belong there. But the way I got over it is, I just focus on becoming the best version of myself, and I just focused on myself. I didn't look at what anybody else was doing. I stopped comparing myself to others. So that's how I got over it, and I hope that when you are at university and you start to feel the same way, that you also begin to focus on yourself. And one thing, when I was a freshman, I failed 2 classes because I wasn't responsible with my time. But eventually I was able to get better grades. But with that, I want to say that your grades aren't always a reflection of your intelligence. There are some classes where I'd say I mastered the material. But I ended up getting a C- in that class because I didn't do so well in the final. Generally, I'm not that good at taking tests. I get pretty nervous. And because of that, I forget some of the stuff. But I know that I knew that stuff. So that's why I say that, your grades sometimes is not a measurement of how smart you are.
I'm Caitlin Quesada. Right now, I'm a second year bioengineering major at UCLA. And I went to high school at San Fernando High School, and I graduated in 2019. I noticed that a lot of people around me, and myself included, when it was time to apply to college around your junior year of high school, some people wish, like, I wish I cared about my GPA when I was in 9th grade. And I wish I knew that they like seeing people who have been in clubs for 3 years or 4 years, or people who were committed to things for a long time. And so it's important, I think, that when you're going into high school, you're kind of getting started right away, because I feel like that's not something that people tell you. It's something you have to find out yourself when it's too late sometimes. The main thing that I want to get across message is that, like, some students and people around me I noticed think that their disadvantages are actually disadvantages when applying to college, but that's really not the case, because I think that your disadvantages are literally your advantages when you're applying to college, because you have the ability through like these essays that you have to submit to talk about your struggle and things that you've gone through. And a lot of people around me, like here in the Valley, gone through hardships like with money or just being an underrepresented student. And when you talk about the struggle in those essays, these colleges and scholarships, they love to hear about it. They love to hear how they can help you. They love to hear how you're struggling, but you want better for yourself and your status, your family, and they want to help you. And so I would say to never think that, oh, I don't have a lot of money, I can't go to college. That's never, ever the case. You can talk about that. They love hearing it. And scholarships also love hearing about it. And it's just, it can literally just change your life. And you have the ability to do so, even though you might not think so. But the other side of it, I think, is to always ask for help, because my parents or people around me might not have been that familiar with applying to college in that process, but YouTube was, and there was tutorials online that said, oh, these were my college essays, like my college, how I got into college type of videos on YouTube. And I watched those a lot, and they helped me. And I also reached out to my college counselors. You're allowed to bug them because that's their job. And they would help me go over my essays and say, this sounds right, this maybe doesn't sound right. And, I'm in my second year of college, and I just talked to my college counselor again to help me on something, because they're there for that. And the help is there, but you just have to look for it. Being, like I was kind of talking about, like being disadvantaged sometimes from other students that you might be competing with that are applying to college. They have a lot of resources, or they might have like more money to afford tutors and people who are going to help them on their college applications that we might not get as underrepresented students. But at the library, there's actually a whole entire section that you might miss it if you walk past it, but it's there. And there's SAT books, ACT, all the exams you're going to need that help you stand out as a college applicant. And you can check those out, or you can just stay there like I did and go through them, do practice problems while you're there. And it's honestly the best way to try to level yourself with the people who might be more privileged than you and get that preparation that would be expensive otherwise. Because I know those SAT books can be really expensive, but they have them there to check out for free. And so like that resource aspect is one side. But the way I think took advantage of the library was that I started volunteering my freshman year. Like I said, get started 9th grade. And I liked it. I saw that I liked it. I stayed all 4 years. And that was something that I think stood out, that I was able to stay committed to something for so long. And so I really enjoyed it. And it also was as an advantage to me. So this isn't necessarily like a college related challenge, but I think a life challenge was that in my sophomore year of high school, my family was going through a lot of financial issues. Specifically, my dad had got laid off and my mom did not have a job either. So we were going off an unemployment check. And I know for a lot of students, financial issues can also are just something you live with. And so I was, we were trying to do things to come up with money, but that could have been like kind of stressful. But also on the side, I was applying to scholarships. And what I had, by my sophomore year, I was taking some AP classes, which are important to take. And my GPA was good. And I also had my extracurriculars. I was already volunteering at the library, and I was involved in some clubs in my high school. So with that and my story, you know, this is what I'm going through. I'm a kid from Pacoima, and this is what I want to do with my life. Like, I want better. I started applying to scholarships and applying, and that's all I did for like months. And it's a process. It's you have to write essays, and it can be kind of, you know, stressful, but I do think it's worth it, because how I overcame that was I started winning them. And by my senior year of high school, I actually went from like not even having a bank account, having no money, to me, I was able to get almost, this is like huge, it was almost like $20,000 in scholarships. That just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't do anything for that money, but I really did. I took the time to do all those applications, and like, obviously I didn't get all of them. I probably got less than half of the scholarships I applied to. And, you know, the rejection is kind of, you just have to face it, take it, and go with it, because there will be colleges you get into, there will be scholarships that you will win. So obviously you have to face the rejection, and you have to get used to it. Having to apply for so many that just in case you don't win 9 out of 10, there's a good chance you'll win 1 out of 10. And so it's just taking the time. And then there was some that was like, oh, like this one's just for San Fernando Valley students. Like, I'm gonna get this one. And I didn't get it. And I was like, it was one of the first ones I applied to. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I wrote this whole essay. And I was like kind of upset, but obviously I just kept applying. And then I ended up winning like a nationwide one, like where I was like selected out of the whole nation. And so it's sometimes just stuff you don't expect, and you just really have to keep going, because I know it's really discouraging. Some people will be like, oh, I applied to a scholarship and I didn't get it. Like, that's it. Like, I applied to like 100 scholarships and I got some. Like, that's how it really should be. I think that you should go to college, because kind of through what I said already before I even got to college, I was kind of changing my own life, because changing your, you know, socioeconomic status is a huge thing that college is able to do for you. The way I see it is, if you see that your family are in a situation that you don't like, or something that's not easy to live with, you have the ability to change that. And if you really want to not be in that situation anymore, this is, you know, the way out. It's the start. And I think it's something that all students should take advantage of. I know, you know, college is not for everyone, but I think everyone should try it, just because of the opportunities it comes with. I know you can get a job without college. Who's to say you won't make double that with a degree and a job? And I think sometimes the importance of, you know, trying college is not really emphasized, at least in LAUSD, that, like, from my own experience. You know, some students think that there's like a magnet program at my school, and if I'm not in the magnet program, they don't really care if I go to college. And sometimes it might seem like that at the schools, but I think it's really should be emphasized that it's for everyone. It can be for everyone. And you should just try it and just start applying. And just, I guess one other thing, college is fun. It can be intimidating. Obviously, at my school, there's a lot of people who are not like me, who did not come from the same background as me. And it's kind of can be like, you know, the culture shock type of feeling, where there's a lot of people who aren't like you, but there's people who are like you too, because there's this whole program at my school called the Society. I'm in engineering, which is, for one, like, usually it doesn't even have a lot of women. And for two, it can be a lot of, you know, not underrepresented communities or not minorities in engineering. Yet there's a whole club dedicated to, it's called the Society of Latino Engineers. And there's people for you. Like, your communities are still there in college. You don't have to go it alone. I've made my best friends in that club, and it's just something that is really helpful. And then there's people who are on the same track as you, from the same background as you, that you can look out for, and they'll look out for you too. So I don't think you ever have to like go it alone, and I think it's just really worth it.
Hello, Los Angeles Public Library, Los Angeles Unified School District, and everybody viewing today. My name is Cielo Echegoyen, and like many of you, I come from a disadvantaged background. My mom was born in San Juan Cieneguilla, in Oaxaca. She dreamt of becoming a nurse, but had to stop her schooling after 5th grade to help my grandparents in the fields. My father was born in El Salvador and aspired to be a politician. However, he immigrated to the United States shortly after El Salvador's Civil War ended. Oddly enough, my parents' respective dreams of medicine and law combined to influence my life. I plan on double majoring in molecular and cell biology and political science at Harvard University. Harvard had always been my dream school, but the road was rough. In middle school, I was diagnosed with pectus excavatum. My sternum was caving in and applying pressure to my heart and my lungs, so I underwent 3 surgeries. I had a metal bar implanted inside my chest, and even today, I believe it to be the most physical pain I've endured. I had to quit sports, so I turned to academics as I entered high school. Just like that, Harvard became an even bigger goal. I took 15 APs during my time in high school. I studied at my local public library until they'd kick me out at night. And I joined plenty of college preparatory programs. I was committed, and being first generation was not going to stop me. The summer before my junior year, I was shaken awake by my mom. My dad had just been detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement outside of our home. I felt powerless. My family could not afford a lawyer, but my sister knew one who agreed to represent my father for free. The next 6 months were unbearable. I couldn't focus on school. I just wanted my dad. But whenever I was lucky enough to visit him, he always reminded me to stay focused on what mattered: school. I remember my father's release as if it were yesterday. I was forever changed, and I could not stop myself from reaching out to others who were in ICE detention. I had the honor of translating and finding legal aid for 2 men who have since been released. I had no idea that it was what I would write about for my college applications. I had no idea that my essay would get me into Harvard, and I was so fortunate to have my dad with me to see it. I know things are tough. There is a pandemic going on, and it is easy to feel discouraged. Maybe you don't feel special, but you are. There is a reason why you are here, and you have the potential to do incredible things. It does not matter if you don't speak Spanish, if you are an English learner, if you are a person of color, if you are LGBTQ+, or what your socioeconomic status is. Maybe you haven't been through major obstacles yet, but that does not mean that the problems you do have don't matter. It is never too late. You can reach out for tutoring or visit office hours. You can pick up a hobby you've always wanted to try. Experiment. You don't have to know what you want yet. You only have to know that you are capable of doing whatever it is that you want. Your goals are not too big for you to accomplish. I know it is overwhelming when you have never seen anybody do it, or when nobody believes in you. A college counselor asked me, "Are you sure you want to reach for Harvard?" She did not believe in me, but it did not stop me from being accepted. Shoot for college. Be the first in your family. Share the news with your loved one. If your loved one is deceased, I bet they are still proud of you. College is not for everybody. Maybe you'd rather do vocational training or go straight to work. That is phenomenal too. Just make sure that whatever you do it for yourself, and you do it happily. Make yourself proud. I know you can do it. Surprise yourself, and good luck.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to today's program. I hope you were inspired as I was. I hope you learned a lot as I did. As we mentioned at the beginning of today's program, this is part of a series of programs. So we have another program tomorrow, April 28th at 4 p.m., Choosing the Right College. If you are interested in signing up for that, or at 6 p.m., there's also Choosing the Right College and How to Pay for College in Spanish. You just need to email Teen Services, that's all one word, TEENSERVICES @lapl.org for the Zoom links. There's also another program on April 29th at 4 p.m. on how to pay for college. And all of those programs will have a lot more information on, again, finding that right fit college for you and funding. And we heard so much good information today that I hope you take the time to absorb that and share it with your friends. And again, thank you so much for coming.